Hey everybody, I'm Shayna from EspressoEnglish.net and I'm here with Gabby from GoNaturalEnglish.com, and we're recording the second video of our Conversational English series. So today we're going to talk a little bit about our experience teaching English in the classroom. I think you'll find a lot of interesting stuff, that maybe some stories we have to share.
Yeah.
So Gabby, tell me how long you've been teaching English.
Well, I've been teaching English, since about 2002. That was my first, when I was like 5 years old. No, joking. That was my first time teaching conversational English, tutoring, and I continued with it because I loved it from that day. And I've been teaching online now since about 2011.
Okay.
Yeah.
And before that, were you teaching in a classroom or?
Yeah, so from about 2005 to 2011, I was teaching in a classroom, and I was teaching adults. Actually, I taught in Japan for a while, and
Cool.
I was teaching in 2011, I was teaching in a company. So it was like in-company training for adult business professionals, and small classes. And it was different. I've also taught, I've taught in a lot of different settings, but in a university and different like private language schools, so a lot of different places.
Got it.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of experience.
Oh,
Way more
thanks.
than me.
No, well, tell me about you. How long have you been teaching online and English and?
Well, I guess my teaching started when I was in college. I was a writing tutor, and so I would help people with their papers, basically.
Great.
And I'd get a lot of international students, and they would need some help with the English too. But I really liked helping people. I think that was I loved seeing people have like that light bulb moment where they're like, oh, I understand it now, and now I can do it better.
So rewarding.
I feel like I can communicate better. And so I started actually teaching English in the classroom in Brazil in 2010.
Nice.
I moved down there to be with my husband and thought, what can I do? I can teach English. So
yeah, that's perfect. And then Espresso English started around what year?
2012.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's awesome. I love that, we started around the same time, and, now you're here, and yeah, it's very cool. So what was your teaching like, and what was your classroom like in Brazil?
I was teaching adults.
Okay.
And also small classes, small group classes, usually maybe 4 to 8 students. And they would usually put me with the intermediate to advanced learners.
Okay.
Normally they would use a native English speaker for the higher levels. But I really loved working with the students because they were fun. They participated a lot in the class, which I love, right? I think we get a lot of energy from that give and take of,
That's
teacher and
my favorite
student.
too. Yeah. So did you ever have like a favorite student? Can I ask that? I know we're supposed to love all students equally, but did you ever have a favorite?
I did have one student who I greatly admired because he came to me, he was high beginner and really had a lot of problems with English.
Okay.
And in fact, in his native language of Portuguese, he had a speech problem.
Oh, wow.
So pronouncing English words was like even worse.
Yeah.
But he worked really hard. Like he overcame that lack of natural talent just by, he did his homework every day. He would study extra.
Wow.
He would go far beyond, the minimum. And I think the funniest thing that ever happened with him was he was farsighted. That means that he could see the chalkboard or the whiteboard, but he couldn't see like a text.
Oh, wow.
If he didn't have his glasses.
Right, okay.
Well, sometimes he would forget his glasses. And then, of course, I couldn't use any of my worksheets.
Oh, no.
So one day, I had prepared a really great class. And he came in and said, "Teacher, I forgot my glasses." And I thought, oh, great. Well, it's just going to have to be conversation. Yeah. Well, sometimes conversation is difficult when you're pre-intermediate. So we talked, and I asked him about his weekend and about his work and, everything I could think of. And we were, half an hour into the conversation. I'm thinking, I don't have anything else to talk about. What am I going to do? And I look at him, and I see he has a pocket. And in his pocket, I said, are those your glasses?
Oh,
and he said, oh,
my
look,
goodness.
it's my glasses. And so he put them on, and we finished the class with some worksheets, and it was funny. But he made a ton of progress. He was a solid intermediate by the time we finished.
That's amazing.
Did you have any students who particularly inspired you?
Yeah, you know, I learned a lot from some of my students. Like, I was thinking of one in particular in Japan, one of the adults in the company where I was teaching. And through talking with him, I found out that in his personal life, his hobby was to play drums. And this is important because in the English class, you know, one thing that he was having a lot of trouble with was stress and intonation and like the musicality of English. And so he actually thought of this, and he taught me like that playing drums actually helped him to understand the musicality of English and like where to put the stress. Because one day I think we were talking about how in English it's so important to put stress on the certain syllable or the certain word in the sentence. And he was like, oh, it's like playing the drums. It's da 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 or da 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 da. And I was like, yes, exactly, yes. And that was just kind of an interesting moment just to see him apply something he was really passionate about to learning English, and that helped a lot. And he was just such a sweet student. He was really shy, but like he would speak up. When he had something to say, it was amazing. When he spoke up, it was just like, wow, you just taught me something new. So yeah, that's a student I'll remember maybe forever.
That's a nice breakthrough.
Yeah.
I think one of the cool things about teaching in a classroom is you see a lot of different learning styles.
Yeah.
You know, some students learn better with a lot of interaction. Some students learn better if they have the time to kind of quietly study by themselves.
Yeah.
But you have to teach everyone in a classroom, right?
Yeah. Well, now, how about, has there ever been a moment where things didn't go as planned, or maybe you made a mistake, or like something, I don't know. Let's go there. We can't just talk about the good stuff.
That's true. There have been classes I have been extremely unprepared for, and I've had to just improvise things off the top of my head. Yeah. And I don't like that, because I like to feel like I'm prepared.
Yeah.
And I think there's a parallel to English learners, actually. Like a lot of English learners, they want to feel like they know everything, and they're ready to say the right things in a conversation.
Oh, yeah.
But sometimes you have to do it on the fly and have that ability to like improvise. And so I always felt really insecure about those classes when I hadn't prepared anything, or the printer didn't work to print the worksheets or whatever it was. But if I could just keep a positive attitude, they actually ended up being really good classes.
I bet. That's what I was going to ask, because like they probably turned out really well.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, I think I hate it when a student would ask me a question in class that I didn't really know the answer to. I didn't really feel confident about it, and I think that's difficult because, you know, I want to be able to answer anything, but I'm a human. Like, I don't know everything, I'll admit it. So sometimes you just have to say, I'll get back to you, I need to check. But I know sometimes the students didn't like that, and I felt bad about it, but you know, then you check it and you get back to them, and it's okay. Or I would say, hey, why don't you look that up? And you know, you can report back to us. But yeah, those are the moments that I just felt like, oh, sorry.
They're kind of rough.
They're kind of rough.
So what's your favorite part about teaching online?
Oh man, I love that, you know, well, in a classroom, I would have maximum 15 students. Well, in the US and in Japan, the class sizes are quite small, at least where I taught. But I love that online, I can reach so many people. You know, my videos and website lessons and whatnot reach a lot of people. So that's really exciting. And hearing from those people, you know, when you guys send me an email and you're like, hi, I'm so-and-so from so-and-so country, and I'm like, wow, I want to go there.
Yeah.
That sounds interesting. And just having that connection with people pretty much all over the world is super exciting. And I think that's what's different from teaching in a classroom. You know, yeah, I went to teach in Japan and I had that experience, but until now I never got to meet people from all over the world. So that's super exciting.
I would say exactly the same thing. Like, in addition to just purely being able to talk to and teach a lot of students that, we wouldn't be able to fit in a classroom.
Yeah.
There's just, like you said, I get emails from all over the world, and in some of my courses there's homework, and so when students send in their homework, I get a little insight into their culture or into their way of thinking. And that's just fascinating for me because I love travel. I know you love travel.
Yeah.
And one of the best parts of traveling is getting exposed to different viewpoints and learning new things. So, we love teaching online. We love teaching you guys.
Well, that's wonderful. I'm glad we could talk a little bit about our classroom experience and our online experience. And I know we probably both have a lot of stories to share, but we'll continue talking. And I think we're doing another episode next week, Friday.
That's right.
Not about teaching, but I think we're going to talk about the holidays that are coming up.
Yeah, there's a holiday coming up in the United States, and so we're going to chat about some of our favorite holidays and traditions.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Awesome.
All right, we'll see you guys then.
Bye-bye.
Bye.